my name is Semhar Gebrselassie, and thank you for watching my Udemy course. Today I'll be teaching you how to make Eritrean/Ethiopian coffee. This ceremony is a little different than your traditional cup of joe that you have in the morning. This is something where we sit, we talk, we gossip, and we're able to just relax with our friends and family and really take our time and drink our coffee. Alright, so first I'm going to let you guys know the ingredients it takes to start out making your traditional coffee. So what we have here is we have a little mini stove, we have a coffee grinder, we have something called a menkeshkesh, and this is something that you use to roast the coffee beans. We have a jebena. This is actually made out of clay and it's really delicate, so you have to be careful. We've got a little filter here that you put inside, and I'll let you look at that. And this is actually used to filter the coffee. We've got sugar, we've got finjals, which are just little cups. We've got something to pour the coffee in if it starts to spew over. Of course, we have our coffee beans here, and these are actually straight from Ethiopia. And you can kind of look at the color there also. And we've got something to put the coffee beans on after they're roasted. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next step so we can get started. All right, so our first step is to get our coffee beans, and I have them in this finjal right here, and this is about 3 tablespoons of coffee beans. And I'm gonna put it in the menkeshkesh, and as you can see, they are unroasted. So the way that I'm gonna roast those, I'm just gonna set them here on top of the stove, and this is on high heat. And I'm just going to kind of shake this until it becomes like a black and oily color and texture. So I'll do this for about 7 minutes or so, and I'll show you what the texture looks like of the beans once they're done. All right, so it took us 13 minutes to finish roasting the beans. You can kind of take a look at them and see what they look like. So I'm done with this. And as you can see, they're like that dark brown and they're oily. So the next step that I'm gonna do is I'm just kind of flatten these beans out. They're still a little hot. And I'm actually just going to kind of find, I'll come up to show you. I'm gonna find these, and I'm gonna just kind of set them to the side and throw them out in a little. And this is all I really need to do before I start grinding the beans. All right, so I have removed most of the excess flakes that come from the coffee beans. And now I'm just gonna pour it into my grinder really slowly and carefully. And if there's still a little bit of the flakes, it's really not that big of a deal. But sometimes you'll have way too many, so I always try to pick those out. And I'm just gonna turn my grinder on here. Freshly grinded roasted coffee beans. All right, so I have grinded the coffee beans, and now it's time for the kind of difficult part, and that is to put it in here. So I am just going to carefully make a little funnel with my hand, and to the best of my ability get the majority of it in here. I'm not an expert. All right, and now I have some water here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pour that in here so that we can make our first round of coffee. All right, so I've got all the coffee grinds in here, and I am going to let that sit until I can hear and see it bubbling a little bit, and then I will remove it and let it cool down. All right, so as you can see here, the bubbles are starting to come up. If you want to come on closer. And I'm just going to need to pour that out so it doesn't spew. And then I'll just pour it right back in. And I'll let it do that a couple more times until we're ready to have our first cup of coffee. It is bubbling over a little, so I'm just gonna pour that here. Oh, not coming out. And I'll just pour it back in. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes, and the reason that we waited was to let the coffee settle to the bottom, and now we're ready to pour our first cup. So that filter that I showed you in the beginning, we're just gonna put that on top to make sure that no chunks of coffee come out, and we are going to just pour this in a finjal. And as you can see, I am making it for 4 people, and there should be enough really to have it for 5. After this round, our ceremonies usually last about 3 rounds, so everyone will drink this first cup of coffee, and then I'll put it back on the stove and it'll heat up again, and I'll add a little bit more water, and we'll have a second round. The second round will be a little thinner, so it'll be a lot less strong, and then we'll have a third and final round that will be the lightest roast of coffee. Thanks for watching.